Hello and welcome everybody to the High Rollers table, where we talk about the highest individual or small casino chip lots that are sold on eBay. And this month is February, so let's dive into this. Starting with number 10, the Hollywood Diner Club. So you can see here it sold on February 6th for $356, 18 bids. This, to me, when I first look at this, I don't know anything about the Hollywood Diner Club, but my first impression is that it looks like it's a label for some sort of weird chemical. You know, something that you would really use to make some really powerful material to make poker chips out of or something. We've experimented with homemade poker chips here on this channel and it didn't go so well, but apparently for the HTC it did. Beautiful chip. Again, if I knew more about it, I'd be more interested in it, but pushing almost $400. The HTC 5. Moving on to number 9, we have the Sport of Kings $100 Las Vegas casino chip, and it is, and I quote, extremely rare. It's obviously a ceramic chip. Sold for $379.99 on February 10th. This is a chip that makes me feel like they need a racetrack in Las Vegas, and I remember the heat, and maybe that's not such a good idea, but either way, it's a very dynamic and interesting chip, the $100 chip. You can see it's not canceled, pretty interesting. You can see the seller obviously showing off that it's sharp-edged, it can stand on edge. It's just a absolutely lovely chip. Again, don't know anything about Sport of Kings, but it's a lovely chip. Number 8 is a Sands $5 Las Vegas 1965 casino chip, 11th issue, hat and cane mold, sold for $408.76 on February 24th. Now, this chip I think is going to appear again later on this list, and it's pretty common for about this price range. This is obviously a chip I desire. I remember the Sands, very iconic hotel in Las Vegas, even in my life, and even in film. So, a lovely $5 here, the yellow with the dark blue edge spots and the hat and cane mold. I really like that sun in that inlay. A beautiful chip from an iconic casino, very collectible. Whoever got this, good job. That was a great deal, $408.76. Number 7 is a beautiful Flamingo $5 Las Vegas casino chip. It's been canceled, so there's a hole drilled through it. It was offered at $449.99. And on February 9th, they accepted the best offer of $400. Now, this is a fascinating chip. So obviously the orange, the two edge spots. This is a small key mold, and this is a beautiful 1940s issue Flamingo chip. This is something that it would be so awesome to own for $400. Obviously, if it weren't canceled, it would sell for a lot more than that, but this is absolutely stunning. A piece of Las Vegas history. I can't, I'm just gushing over this chip. It's just such a beautiful example and from a wonderful era that really kicked things off. And I just love this chip. Again, we'll see these that aren't canceled, but this is a lovely example. Whoever buys these, whoever bought this one, this was a great selection and a great chip. And number 6, again, we see the same, 1965 Sands $5 Las Vegas casino chip, 11th issue hat and cane mold. This one sold for $424.24, so right in that ballpark. That's what we expect to see for these chips. Sold on February 7th. Just an absolutely lovely, iconic chip. I already raved about how wonderful this is. So we're going to move on to number 5. The Desert Inn 25-cent casino chip, Contact, Nevada, not Las Vegas, vintage 1951, sold for $600 on February 21st. Now, number 1, Contact sounds awesome. It sounds like old school aviation. I don't even know much about it, but it's a beautiful gray chip, hot stamped, obviously Desert Inn. I really like the circle square mold. Is it circle square or square circle? Either way, that's a lovely mold that, by the way, is still in production today. You can see 25-cent chip. This is absolutely stunning. Like, I'm looking at this, the condition seems amazing. And the one thing that stood out to me, it's handling a lot of chips, is that instead of that kind of light linen or checker pattern that they have on modern classic poker chips, formerly ASM chips, this circle square mold has this linear texture to it that I find really fascinating. If you look at it closely, it does look like there is like kind of a cross cut, but that linear pattern is so prevalent. It's just a really interesting example of this chip. So beautiful Desert Inn. Again, I don't know much about Desert Inn, 25-cent casino chip. Number 4, we have the Stardust $25 casino chip, first issue, 1958, Las Vegas, $615 on February 27th. Now, the Stardust is something that I remember from my childhood. I remember driving by it, dark Las Vegas. The hotel would kind of disappear, and there were all these bright lights just everywhere. It was an amazing light show, and it was a place that I always was interested in. The casino was kind of more of a casino hall. It didn't stand out to me as particularly amazing. I don't remember that much of it. It was just another casino, but outside, the exterior at night was something that stood out to me as a child. So Stardust, $25 casino chip, something I'm interested in. You can see the 3 edge spots right here. Again, that small key pattern with that lovely inlay, that shaped inlay, true shaped inlay with the Stardust, obviously stars everywhere. Las Vegas, Nevada, $25. This is a beautiful chip. I would love to own this chip. Number 3, we have a 3-chip lot. Vintage Barney's $100, Sahara $5, Nevada Club Lodge $1, Casino Poker Chip Lake Tahoe, $615 for the 3 of these. February 2nd, this sold. Now this is a small lot that I think is really interesting. I avoid some of these large lots of like 25 or just like a huge collection, but this collection is small enough with 3 pretty interesting and renowned chips right here. Obviously with the Barneys, they have the small key mold to the H mold of the Sahara, Lake Tahoe, which is absolutely lovely, and Nevada Club, Nevada Lodge, with the small crown mold. Beautiful little collection here. And again, this is absolutely lovely. $615 seems, to me, my first impression is a pretty good price. And if you look through the listings in February that sold, there are some large lots that sold and some big collections that sold. Absolutely lovely as well. We're going to move on to number 2, Agua Caliente, 1928, $500 red casino chip. It was listed for $800, but on February 5th, they accepted the best offer of $750. Now this chip is fascinating for a lot of things. The inlay obviously is beautiful with that white inlay and the $500 dotted around what looks like a small southwestern church. I'm not going to say anything about Taco Bell, an AC right there, Agua Caliente obviously in the doorway. And I love the edges. When you look at the edges on this thing, it's spectacular. It's like the edges of coins. I think it's called reeding, if I'm not mistaken. And I love that texturing around the edges. I think that's very fascinating. Lots of times when we see that today, it's on cheaper plastic chips with no denominations, but on a classic example like this, it's just absolutely lovely. And that brings us to number 1, in something that we're all familiar with, the vintage $5 Caesar's Palace $5 casino chip. I talk about this at length. Caesar chilling on a chaise lounge. I'm not sure if that's a chaise lounge, but that's what's happening here, man. That's what you'd be doing if you were Caesar. You'd just be chilling there. So I love that chip. It just captures Caesar's Palace. I've talked enough about this. It sold for $1,050, February 11th. It was originally listed at $1,450, so $1,450, and they accepted the best offer of $1,050. Thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate your support. A huge shout out to my patrons. Again, thank you for joining me on Patreon. We love to message back and forth over there. It's just general support. You can also support this channel by visiting my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.